Solid ground, solid might. Get your boots on the ground and fight. The Leon Block. Freedom. Freedom of press. Media. Journalists. Journalism. Words matter. The Leon Block. Unite the classes. All power to the people. The Leon Block. Get in line. Are you looking to advertise your business to a diverse and conscious audience? Are you looking to give back to your community or have your voice heard? We are looking for you. The Leon Block.
Good morning. Today is get the fuck out and vote today, motherfucker. That's what today is. Get your black ass off the couch, get your white ass off the couch, and go vote. Regardless if you're a conservative, regardless if you are a liberal, get out and vote. Get out and vote. That's what you do. Get out and vote. I need everybody today to get out and vote. Today is Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, Truthful Tuesday. And you are tuned in to the Urban Conservative. My name is Chaz Neal, an activist based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And we are being brought to you today by the Leon Block Independent Media. We are all about transparency, truth, and accountability. The Urban Conservative is all about the news on the streets, gun violence, crime, politics, and how we solve our communities' most hardest issues. How can we change our communities for the better? Let's get back to family, community, foundational roots. Let's make sure nobody gets left behind. Set up and help. Today is Tuesday. It's November 8th. Get out, vote, regardless of whoever it is, and that's one thing that I want to talk about because elections are like playing the lottery. If people, I stayed up last night because we spent money on the $1.9 billion Powerball, hoping to change lives. But of course, there was some technical issue. So hopefully the election isn't like that today. I don't want to hear nothing about no riggedness. I don't want to hear nothing about nothing messing up, even though I've already heard people announce that they've already won, which bedazzles me. Really is crazy to me how somebody can already predict that they won an election before it's even been fully counted. But we'll discuss that on another day. But they want to talk about the election deniers. Can we talk about the election predictors? I didn't know you could predict an election like that, but hey, I guess when you don't bite the hand that feeds you, and if you live in a liberal democratic area, you already know what's going down. So John Taylor has finally joined. Running late as usual. We run on black time around here.
Yo, I run on CPT. It is
right.
No, for real though. I had some technical difficulties, producer duties and all, executive producer duties. So I apologize for that.
Like the Powerball?
Yeah, for real. Some technical difficulties, bro. But nah, you know what? This is what independent media is, because life, shit happens. Shit gets fucked up in life. We're not mainstream media. We're not perfect, and shit happens. But you know what? The show goes on. And Chaz, I thank you for keeping shit solid. For real. Grand rising to everybody. And as usual, thank you for having me, Chaz. I did want to interrupt you real quick to jump back on. First of all, I just want to say, shut up and help. But we were talking before we hopped on about things that happened here where I reside, and knowing that Ricardo Munoz's body was left out on the ground for hours. And then we talked about Tekel and how his body was left out for, you say, over 18 hours.
Yeah.
But at the same time, how can we really be that upset when we're not doing anything to change the policies that create this issue? And this is not something that just happens in Minnesota. I know this is stuff that happens in
everywhere.
Exactly.
And that's even one thing about, we need to learn from each of these cases, each of these names, because they leave something. We should never take a death and just forget about it. We should learn from it and prevent the next one. So, and that's one thing that I honestly can say what is missing from 2020, because we are definitely not going to stop the next Breonna Taylor. We're not going to stop the next Amir Locke. We're not going to stop we can't even stop the next Emmett Till, which just happened. It wasn't a lynching. They didn't, and this happened by police, by our own police department that is supposed to serve and protect, not by over some supposed whistling, some supposed words. This happened to a 15-year-old Black child because he was Black. Mm-hmm. And I don't care what Gulfport says. I don't care what that police chief says, because I don't even think he like his own skin color. I don't even think he like his own skin color.
We talked about that yesterday, and the way he was talking about, he definitely ain't kinfolk.
Because I see there's a Stop Asian hate bill. There's a Hispanic hate bill. There ain't no Black hate bill.
Talk about it.
Why there ain't no Black hate bill? And we out here getting lynched every day. There was just a situation in Kentucky, at the University of Kentucky. Yeah, my thing of it is, I don't like to share Black trauma all the time.
Talk about it.
Because I see it all the time. But yet I see people go and talk about it, but don't do nothing about it.
Talk about it.
Because we can sit here and talk all day, because I'm tired of people asking me, why am I at the city council meetings? Why am I here? Why am I there? I'm there to learn. The same thing you motherfuckers should be doing. Mm-hmm. Learning, listening, and learning. Because how are we supposed to change shit if we're not listening and learning? Mm-hmm. Instead of just going with what we're told, instead of listening to Massa, have your own free mind. That's what
think for yourself. Talk about it. The way to freedom is through the mind. Think for yourself. That is what freedom is. Don't go with the masses just because you want to go with what's popular. Think for yourself. And if a candidate doesn't speak to your interest, you have every right to not vote. But if you see a candidate that speaks to your interest, vote. Please vote.
But don't just go with the masses. That's my grief. That's my thing. You know,
as a black man in Minnesota, and I'm going to talk local right now. So when I see black people, when I see black leaders, black churches get behind candidates that have what has they've done for us. They say that Ellison has helped the black community. You tell me how, and I'll tell you how the fuck he hasn't. The same thing with Walls. The same thing with Mary. And I can go both ways, but I know with some of these Republicans, I know damn well that they are out here, boots on the ground,
right,
before these elections. We just don't talk about them because of the R in front of their names. Because I know one man right now that's probably not going to win today, but fucking deserves to win because he cares about that community. And I'm talking about Sean Holster. He's going up against Zanaa Muhammad, whose names is all in scams, all in different types of shit, but is gonna win simply because of Omar, John Legend.
Because it's a popularity contest.
Right, clout.
It's not about morals, it's not about policy, it's not about getting shit done and actually working for your constituents. It's about actually just taking the money of taxpayer dollars and not actually doing anything but appeasing the lobbyists.
Right. That's okay though, because see, I'm a different type of. I don't like being called an activist. I'm a revolutionary.
Talk about it.
Because I'm by any means necessary. See, I'm not like all these other dudes that. Because I hope that she gets in. I hope. I really don't want her to, but see, now I can protest her house. Because her address is public information. So you remember that, Zanaa Muhammad, when my community over north is being left behind, or South Minneapolis is being left behind. Oh, please believe, I'm pulling up. The Republicans, the conservatives, we pulling up. By any means necessary. So remember that. I want all politicians to remember this. Keith, ain't nobody going to be able to stop me from going to your house if you win tonight. Ain't no organization in Minneapolis going to be able to stop me from coming to your house. The same way I shut down your press conference when you were begging for money to persecute our youth in Minneapolis. Yeah, the same way I shut that shit down, I'm coming to your crib and I'm gonna knock on the front door. You can do all the little bitching you want, but we're gonna have a conversation since you don't ever want to have it when I come to your office, either one at the Capitol or over on Plymouth. You never want to have a conversation. So I'm gonna bring that conversation to your front door. In the same way that I handcuff myself to Hennepin County, I will do the same thing to your house. By any means necessary, Keith. Peaceful disruption. I'm not here to cause fires. I'm not here to cause breaking windows. What I want is accountability, transparency, and truth. That's what I want. Everything that you say you're about. Same thing for Walls. You can't hide behind that fence no more. You got all of these bootlickers, since they want to call me a bootlicker. Since you got all of these bootlickers behind you, you got to come to the table, buddy. You got all of these families rocking behind you. You got niggas in the joint posting on Facebook for these fools.
Wow.
So I want people to remember, if the Democrats get into office, they better cash them checks. Because I better see a lot of justice and accountability happening November 9th, which is tomorrow. I don't want to hear that. I'm not trying to hear that, oh, not right now is not the right time. When isn't it the right time
when
to
is
get
the right
man out of prison? When isn't it the right time to do the right thing?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. So when everybody going to the polls, and I don't care where you're at, if it's Wisconsin, you vote for Evers. If you're in Pennsylvania, you vote for Fetterman. Or you look what Krasker's doing in Philadelphia. Not a goddamn thing.
Talk about it.
Not a goddamn thing. But coming up there giving excuses. And we pander to excuses.
Mm-hmm.
When are we going to be done with the excuses? When? That's what I want to know. Because there's a due process, but we got to change that due process that it works equally for everyone.
Right.
And that's what people don't understand. When we talk about reform and change, that's what we need. It can't be just out here talking about it. It's going to get legislation changed. It's going to get ordinances changed. Because right now, these ordinances and these laws, these statutes are used more against us. When they say it helps us, it doesn't.
No.
It doesn't. They said the stop and frisk would be great.
I'm done.
But what they forgot to tell people was, because that's how we lose a lot of brothers and sisters out here.
Mm-hmm.
Because we might look like, so that gives them the authority to beat our ass.
Yo,
if
you
over,
people don't
our
realize
nose might look the same.
How much stop and frisk really decimated Black and brown communities in New York City.
Terry stops.
Mm-hmm.
Terry stops. And the crazy thing of it is, high crime areas are always going to be urban areas. I always hear, I've lived in multiple, and you could probably vouch for this too. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure people in Lancaster be like, oh, there's a ghetto. There's a ghetto. Because I know.
I mean, just like anyone outside of Philly talks bad about the whole city of Philly, they talk bad about the whole city of Lancaster. As if it's all bad. Like when I first lived, because I was born and raised in Coatesville, but then I moved upstate to Wilkes-Barre and Scranton. When I moved back to Coatesville in 2017, I started working at this warehouse, Urban Outfitters. It's a shit show, horrible ass place. It's the size of like King of Prussia Mall. And it's just horrible. You're nothing but a fucking number. And I was trying to get out of Coatesville because it's too small of a town for me, and I couldn't deal with the small town mentality and Black people that I couldn't deal with it. So I was looking for a bigger populated area, and everybody's like, come to Lancaster. But all the white people, and that was where all the immigrants, like, come to Lancaster, it's a great opportunity. All the white people were like, yo, good morning, Silk. All the white people were like, Lancaster's dangerous. There's carjackings and people break into your homes. You don't want to move there.
Everywhere.
Yo, I was homeless and I was living out my car. I came to Lancaster and it felt so cozy, so warm. There was so many things to do. And I was like, yo, these white people are fucking crazy. Like, yeah, there's crime everywhere. Yes. And there is some truth to what you're saying. There will always be crime in urban areas because there's more people. There will always be crime in urban areas as long as there are poverty, redline communities, and ghettos, as some people like to call them. There will always be that. However, there's crime in suburban areas as well. There's crime all over because there are so many societal and social issues within America. You know what I mean? It's more of that. And people will like to say, oh, crime is a Black and brown people thing because of poverty and because there's lots of Black and brown people that are in poverty. However, crime happens with white people. How many of these white serial killers do we have to deal with, and white rapists and white this and white that, doing all kinds of crazy motherfucking things? But their money and their status and them looking after each other gets them off. And they're not plastered on mainstream media like we are and demonized and criminalized. The stereotypes we can leave the stereotypes where they lay, but let's acknowledge the fact that crime is everywhere. The narrative they like to throw is that there's more crime in the cities. There is crime in the cities, and it needs to be focused on, and we need to talk about it, but we need to handle it in the same way that it's handled in the suburbs. Do you know what I'm saying? Just in the same way that a Black criminal that's gangbanged his whole life and killed lots of people deserves the same kind of punishment as some rich white kid that gets off for affluenza, if that's the case. Let's treat everyone equally.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's if it's really equal opportunity, let's give it that. But everyone wants to focus on just black on black crime instead of focusing on all the crime.
Because it's not.
I'm not discrediting what you're saying because I'm taking the conversation a different way.
No, you're not, because you bring
I totally get what you're saying and agree with you.
A very good point, because you know, and I want to read something first because it holds some value, that if the white man wants to hold on to it, let him do so. But the Negro, so far as he is able, should develop and carry out a program of his own. Now, see, now this is Carter Woodson. This is, I want people to understand, like, I've really been doing a lot of Carter Woodson reading lately. And that's probably a good thing, because this is before the civil rights movement.
Right.
So he wasn't calling for black segregation. People were calling for black separation. Right. See, because we wanted to be, and we still haven't got that, because we've been segregated. And they haven't while they've segregated us, they haven't integrated us, because we're still a part of everything else as a whole. Instead of just being seen as black, we're not anymore. We're not, because they want us to think of so many BIPOC, all the other acronyms that they want to call black people, just so they don't have to call us black. I mean, I sit there and I know we've talked about this before. I look at my kids' birth certificates. 3 of my kids have different shit on their birth certificates. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It went from being, even with me, my birth certificate said black. Then my son Jeremiah says African American. My daughter's Sabrina's black. But then I go to my Jasmine, and hers says mixed, multi-race. So they've switched from they don't even want people to truly understand what they are anymore. And that starts at school. It starts at school. And that's what we don't even understand. They don't even give us the true education. Everybody wants to talk about CRT. It's already being taught, because this crusade is much more important than the anti-lynching movement. Because there would be no lynching if it did not start in the classroom.
Right.
They've always gave us a narrative. We don't even know about true Negro heroes. They tell us what we want to know, what they want us to know, not what we need to know, what they want us to know. Because I've learned more on Google and doing my own research than what I ever learned in high school. And even in studies, because in school, they taught me that Christopher Columbus discovered America. But I never understood that, because how do you discover something when there's somebody already here? I never understood that. I never understood that. That's one thing that I truly can never get out of my head, is we've been lied to since birth. Since birth. You know, I go up there and I hear my grandpa's words. The Army was no place for a black man.
Yeah.
But yet, I hear all these other great stories. And is it like, but then, you know, when you do talk to a black man that's been in the Army and they tell you their experience, you know, I had that experience here in Minneapolis with my wife saying thank you to a veteran. And he's like, no, you don't need to thank me. You know, what are you thanking me for? I didn't do anything for the country to be saved. What I went over there and did was kill kids. Mm-hmm. But they don't want you to know that. So that's why they come back over here with PTSD. That's why in Vietnam they were strung out. The vets came back over strung out. Mm-hmm. So when you see dead presidents, I know people remember that movie. Remember Chris Rock's character and how strung out on heroin he was. You think that shit happened in America? He got that shit over there. He got that habit over there because all the fucked up shit he was doing over there. Mm-hmm. And what's the crazy thing is people, oh, well, that was just a make-believe story. Yeah, okay, you believe that if you want to.
Right.
You believe that if you want to. Because where does opioids come from?
Facts. All the places we went to, a lot of the places we went to.
Afghanistan.
Yep.
Vietnam.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. The Middle East. The Eastern countries. Come on, man. Make it make sense to me. And then they want to talk about the black man is the problem. That we don't own no boats. We don't own no planes. I can't even leave the country to go get some dope. But yet, the Bank of America, JP Chase, can bring in dope and be okay. Our government brings in dope every day and sells it all over America because they think Snowfall is just a made up story. It's just a make believe story. Yeah, okay. That's why Freeway Ricky Ross is still alive, and people still don't want to hear that, man. That he literally, the shit that he was selling in the streets of Compton and California was not fueling a whole war in Nicaragua.
Mm-hmm. Talk about it.
They act like that ain't true. Man, if y'all don't stop it. And we want to get mad at El Chapo. We want to get mad at Pablo. We want to get mad at the, you know, it's crazy. That's why I'm talking about this. And the only reason why I'm talking about it is because we're talking about drugs. But I seen in the papers going on in Mexico right now is that the cartels have made an agreement with the Mexican government that they would make a truce between each other if they would leave them alone and let them just do them.
Wow. I'm not surprised.
I'm not either. Because the crazy thing, you look at it, Pablo, that man was people forget he was a politician while he was a dope dealer. One of the biggest dope dealers in the world. But yet he got too big. Too big. So they had to shut him down. He got too big. That's the same thing with BMF. How the hell do black people have dope houses in $1 million neighborhoods and ain't shit said? Come on, that's a setup. You mean to tell me that all them white people in Buckhead, because that was a white neighborhood that their dope house was at. You mean to tell me that all them white people didn't think something was going funny on? That shit went on for years before the feds finally came in and did something. Because they got too big for their britches.
Right.
That's the only reason why they were shut down. That's why I don't understand it. They always want to lock somebody up. But I only see not even the middleman getting locked up. I see the dudes out here getting locked up that are really barely they barely making it. They ain't got no cars. These niggas got apartments. They ain't even made it yet, but yet getting locked up, getting thrown away, the key thrown away, while the nigga, the big nigga, out here getting paid eating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If y'all don't understand the game, it ain't no different in any community. It ain't no different. The whites do the same shit. They just do it a different way. We don't know how to take care of each other now. We are separated by so many fucking things. Labels, Bloods, Crips, gay, trans. So many were Christian, Muslim, Lutheran, Catholic. Because we'll talk about all of these NBA stars. We'll talk about all of these celebrities. But don't nobody ever want to talk about the priests. Because I see Catholic church and court settling every other day somewhere in America. But yeah, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about all the shit that the Catholic Church or that religion has done to kids, period. Even Boy Scouts of America here in Minneapolis touching little kids. So I want people to think about that November 8th when you're going to the poll. We're going to take a short commercial break, and when we get back, we are going to get into a story. Want to listen to this video. It's between Jonathan Greenblatt and Nick Cannon. So you heard the names. If you don't know who that is, that's ADL and Mr. Have a Baby, Mr. Nick Cannon. Got the Dirty Dozen. Power up, brother, because goddamn, you got a lot of kids. But we'll be right back. It's Truthful Tuesday, and you're tuned into the Urban Conservative.
I heal. I read tarot cards, and I'm pretty good at that. I do this amazing poetry that I want to bring. I want to develop this workshop and bring the inner child out in women. And I want to heal the world, one woman at a time. I really do. I want to build a sisterhood. I imagined today when I was in the shower that, oh my gosh, if I travel around the world to
Freedom. Freedom. Open up your mind. You have your roots. Free yourself. Freedom. I like this. Do you have your boots? What does it mean to you? Do you have your boots? Do you have your boots? I like this. Get into the new. Alright. You know what you should do. Free yourself. The way to freedom is through the mind. Free yourself. Get to knowledge, train your eye. Meditate. Liberate. Educate. Freedom.
Yo. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? So, we're about to listen to a conversation between Nick Cannon and Jonathan Greenblatt. Tune in.
Let's get it.
The buck, the one that gets out of line. So all the other slaves would see lash after lash, showed them the power to set an example. This is what you must do to fall in line. So when we see the 6 things that Kyrie must do to get his job back, that's dehumanizing. I can wholeheartedly say I know Kyrie Irving is not anti-Semitic.
When given the chance to say, are you anti-Semitic or not, he didn't say, no, I'm not anti-Semitic. At the press conference, tell us about that movie, why he did. He said, stop dehumanizing me. And the movie is saying white Jews invented the Holocaust and 6 million Jews didn't get killed. Okay, I know that isn't right, because there's a gigantic historical record. Jewish people know when you dehumanize us this way, we know what's around the corner.
So in that same statement as those are the tropes that dehumanize Jewish people, the same buck breaking.
What's that? I don't really know what that means, to be perfectly honest.
So how did he lie? He a goddamn lie. He don't know what that means.
One that gets out of line.
But he know what anti-Semitic means. That's crazy.
Lash showed them the power to set an example. This is what you must do to fall in line. So when we see the 6 things that Kyrie must do to get his job back, that's dehumanizing. I can hope.
How isn't that dehumanizing? Exactly. They're telling this grown-ass man that he's got to do blase, 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 blase to get his job back. To get his job back. But yet, we don't call out Shaquille O'Neal, who made money off the documentary.
Colin Kaepernick, this is what you do. This is what will happen to you if you speak out. If you speak out in support of your own people, this is what happens. And Nick Cannon is speaking about that goes back to the days of chattel slavery and the transatlantic slave trade. Yes, buck breaking, setting an example to the rest of the slaves, taking the strongest of the bunch and continuing to just barely keep them alive to show this is what will happen to you if you fall out of line. Kyrie, Kanye, Colin fell out of line.
The Willie Lynch syndrome.
Yep.
And people don't even, they want to say that letter is not fucking real. How is it not when we see it every day in living
I don't care if it came from a real person or not. The shit is real. It's truthful.
Right. Even if it is that little secret word they want to call it, Pasodian or whatever the hell they but you sit there, look at it in the makings of a slave. Now, they talk about in the makings of a slave about buck breaking, about breaking, and what they mean, what Nick is talking about buck breaking, because you're seeing it, we've seen it over the years. And we actually, and there's different ways of buck breaking, right? Because they do it in this movement too. When you get too loud or they can't control you, yeah, there's buck breaking. They make sure that you can't eat, you can't provide for your family. They make sure that you're gonna go homeless, jobless, and you gotta be out here really fighting. You gotta be really out here fighting hard, because people do not understand the fights that we go through to get actual justice, truth, transparency, and accountability.
Talk about it.
The shit they throw at us. And that's why I say all skin folk ain't kinfolk. We got lawyers out here that are in this movement. Where they at? You know what we got to do to even get a lawyer? All these lawyers, all you political science people. How have you man, this is the whole, y'all got white supremacy education. Y'all have been buck broke already. Because you already fell in line. You might at one point, it's just like with Keith Ellison, Bobby Rush. Yeah, I'm definitely going to talk about Bobby. Because he been broke. That man ain't done nothing the whole time he been in Senate for Chicago. He ain't done shit. Ain't done a motherfucking thing. Because they got to him. Because if they didn't get to him, he wouldn't be here. He wouldn't be here. He'd have died with Fred.
Mm-hmm.
He'd have went out with Bobby Seals. I think that actually is Bobby Seals. I don't know if that's the same person or not. Let me stop. I ain't got time to be Googling. But Nick got a very, very, very valid point because Nike's dropped him.
Yep.
You losing all his endorsements, so he's already lost money. Plus, he got to pay money, and then he's suspended, and then got to do all of these things to get back on the court. While he's already apologized. So they humiliate him more publicly. Got to do this. He's already apologized. That ain't good enough. That's all I'm hearing. That ain't good enough. How can they decide what's good enough or what's not good enough? Because we don't get to decide what's good enough for us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I see families all the time get fucked over by the system. All the time. Not getting no body cam footage or not be told the truth. I don't know how many stories we always hear that. The police told us this, then come to find out that wasn't the truth. And yet, still, the officer ain't locked up. So how is voting blue going to help? Let me ask that.
Mm-hmm.
What is voting blue going to help? Because we got in Minnesota, we got 2 out of what? 451 officers? Wow, I'm loving it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing sports no more. You know what's crazy is I don't know how to even do none of this anymore, honestly, because I see we'll boycott NBA stars, we'll boycott celebrities, you know, because people talk.
We won't boycott Amazon,
huh?
But we ain't boycotting Amazon. Ain't nobody like that boycotting Family Dollar.
Let me say this, right? Because people ask me, how can you listen to R. Kelly or Michael Jackson? I'm like, well, how can you listen to Elvis?
Talk about it. Talk about it.
How can you listen to Jerry Lee Lewis?
Yep.
How can you listen to most of the rock stars in the 80s?
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to talk, so when you're ready to have that conversation, then we can have a conversation. But until then, I'm going to continue playing R. Kelly because it's music. It's art. It's an art. So if I got to sit here and listen to whack-ass Elvis be called the king of pop or whatever the hell he's called, then why can't Mike be called the king of pop?
Real.
So I'm not trying to hit. If you can't put Mike and R. Kelly in the same as Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis, then we can't have a conversation because you're already being biased to me.
For real.
You're already being biased because there's a history of that shit.
I just hate when people come to me talking to me as if I'm supposed to just go like everyone just agrees on the same thing in that sense. And it's like, no, I'm not brainwashing. I think for myself. You go ahead and think that, but don't come at me with that shit. Let's talk about some stuff first. Let's talk about how we really feel about it. And people don't want to have those conversations.
No, they don't. And it pisses me off when I see, because especially I've seen it in Minnesota where they're like, oh, vote Keith Ellison. He's done so much for the Black community. They always like to bring up Chauvin and Potter. So I'm going to say it to not even so much about Chauvin, but Potter. I'll say it like this. If you believe that Potter got justice, that her sentence was good, 2 years, because I don't care about what Jim Schultz says, right? That he would have did whatever, right? He still believes that she made a mistake and deserved to be convicted. So all that narrative y'all want to say about Buddy, whatever. He does agree with that she shouldn't be in prison. Now he does say that. He also says that he would do something that he can't do, commuter sentence. He's not allowed to do that. So that doesn't bother me. But with Ellison, the family wasn't okay with 24 months and went to Ellison and wanted him to change that.
Right.
The family went to Ellison to upgrade the charges. He never did that. So while everybody's talking about Ellison did great things, no, he didn't. No, he didn't, because he was, first of all, he was pressured by the people. He didn't do that on his own. You think he actually just, oh yeah, it's you know, it's the right thing to do. No, that's because the people of Minnesota, of Minneapolis, the United States of America, and the world got on fire. Got on fire. That's why they charged them 4 cops. Not because it was the right thing to do, because if it was the right thing to do, we would be seeing this all over America where cops are being charged, convicted and charged, or wait, not fired and charged. But we're not seeing that. Because what about Jaheim McMillan, Jalen Walker?
Yeah.
These are 2 of the biggest stories this year, and I don't even see Jaheim McMillan all over the national news.
Right.
But I see Kyrie. I see Kanye's latest tweets. But I don't see nothing about Jaheim McMillan. I don't see nothing about Jalen Walker. That's why I cannot wait to get today over with, so we can stop talking about politics and we can start talking about the people. We can start talking about solutions. We can start talking about the issues so that we can get unity and accountability. Because that's what I'm talking about tomorrow. I'm not talking about no politicians. I'm talking about it's time to activate.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to get up, stand up for your rights. It's time to more than just talk about it. It's time to put them words into play. It's time to put them words in motion. That's what it's time for. It's getting cold. We got homeless people out here. We got people that are going hungry. What are we going to do about it? I don't want to talk about, oh, we got to go to the ballot. Nope, we got to wait 2 years. So that ain't going to work. So we got to come up with something else. That's a long-term plan. We need a short term. What's going to help in the short term? What are we going to do? Huh? Because I know Minnesota got 12 billion surplus. Surplus. That means extra money. Extra money. I'm really shocked to see that Sean King actually came out and made a statement. That was nice to see. And
I don't listen. I don't like everything that he does and things that have been said. However, I go hard for Sean simply because he's consistent in getting the truth out and vigilant in shoving it in your face, and that's what I admire about him, because that's what we try to do here. I always can look to the information that he puts out and know that I can trust it. I don't give a fuck about him personally as a person. I care about the content and him doing his due diligence and his duty as a citizen and a journalist by making sure that truth gets out. So I support him in that sense.
Right. No, I get it. I get it. And I want people to do their own research. And I know there's a lot of people that have already early voted. So they already have their vote out, which is, what the hell? Mm-hmm. But still, there was some kind of a thing that came up on my phone. Okay. Now, 2 people were charged for assaulting a woman for her sock money at Cedar Riverside. See, and I I do like that to see that now. See, that's good. That's good news. We got two bad now. The prosecutors and the judge got to do their job because the police did theirs. So that's how the system works. And I totally forgot where we were going. But it's I know some people have already early voted, but your vote does matter. And for the people that haven't voted yet, do your research. Don't go to no fucking organization either. Don't go to your mailbox either. Use Google. Use Google. Put their names in the search engine. And don't just look at Fox. Don't look at a bunch. Even the independents. Definitely look at the independents. Don't look at mainstream so much. And then see if it's an incumbent, somebody that's been in office for years. What is their track history? What have they done for your community? Mm-hmm. Have they made it better or have they made it worse? You got to think about that, because is it voting the same way? Isn't that insanity? If you're voting the same way for a change but don't get no change, don't you think you would want to try something different?
Right.
I'm just saying. I definitely just do not get that. But it's get out and vote. And even if you don't want to vote, go vote. Even if you don't want to vote for everything, vote for what you do want to vote for. Because your vote does matter. And that's what we need to work on, is the legislation. We need to work on so that everybody has a voice, regardless if they're sitting in a prison cell, if they're on probation, out in the free world. Because if we're out here in this shit, we should have a voice. Mm-hmm. We should have a voice. Because I'll tell you right now, I think they're so scared that, oh, they'll vote a certain way. They don't know that. Because we have our own minds. We have our own opinions, our own life perspectives. And I'll tell you right now that I can guarantee that if a lot of felons that are on probation right now that don't have prison sentences were able to vote, I guarantee that would change an entire election cycle.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them Negroes know the truth, that the people that are hurting them the most are the ones that are out here saying that they're helping the most. Because that's all I hear. That's all I hear. I listen to these single mothers that don't even want to be single mothers, but really have no choice. They don't have a choice because the system doesn't want them to be a happy family. It wants them to not have a job where they only have to pay $75 a month for rent, and then the state will give them a couple grand to take care of the kids, some food stamps. Don't have no boyfriend. Don't be no family. Don't be no family, because the minute you become a family, we're going to tear that family apart. Mm-hmm. We're going to take everything away from you. We're going to take everything away from you. And don't go to work either. Just sit on the couch, watch the soap operas.
Yep.
Watch court TV. Know what's going on with Love and Hip Hop. know the latest twerks. Know how to shake that booty.
Indoctrination.
Right. But don't get no smarter. Don't educate yourself, because we don't want you to become all you can be. We want to be who you want to. We're gonna make you be who you want to be. They don't want us to be shit. They don't want us to be shit. Mm-hmm. So until we become free, that's when we'll become somebody. And I am somebody because I'm free. I know that neither party really want to do shit for us. So we got to make them do it for us. And how we get them to make them do it for us is have a seat at the table. Don't complain about it. Make a seat. Go to the meetings. Learn. Because that's what it's about. When they have these committees, we got to learn. And I know that I'm almost out of time today. I definitely hope for a better tomorrow. Anything you want to leave off with today, Jontel?
If you feel that you have any candidates out there that align with how you feel, what you want for changing this world, go vote. If you do not see a need, do not. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm only going to suggest, but however, it is a big day. Just do not forget about the stolen lives that we here at the Leon Block are fighting for every day. People like Jalen Walker, Jaheim McMillan, Fred Cox. Shout out to Tanika Shannon. I know they're doing a balloon release today. Today is a big day down in High Point in North Carolina.
Yes.
So our love and blessings and high vibrations go out to our fellow comrades and loved ones down in North Carolina. Just had to say that really quick. Chaz, thank you as usual for a phenomenal show and episode. I hope that y'all picked up what was being put down today and soaked it up.
Yes, because it does matter. Your vote does matter. Don't let nobody tell you that. So until next time, meditate through the pain and celebrate the ties that bond, liberate our people, and educate our youth so we can stop the bloodshed. Be the change. Win or fail, freedom or jail, heaven or hell, wish me well. Get out and vote.
Be blessed, y'all.